What it is, my 10-0 piece of grease here, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Aura Forma. Now, since I published my last video, Nightwave Intermission 2 fail, question mark, I've been hit up by a lot of people saying, yo, Peace, what is your beef with Aura Forma? So, decided to do a brief video discussing the problems with Aura Forma. Now, let me say from the off that if you use Aura Forma, I'm not saying that you're right, you're wrong, you're good, you're bad, or that you should or should not use Aura Forma. It's just a video just talking about, in my opinion, the problems associated with Aura Forma. Furthermore, this isn't a video that is an attempt to punk DE in the face. To the contrary, I actually commend DE for trying new things. That's where they're going to find their successes. And unfortunately, at times they're going to find some failure there as well. But hopefully, they learn from that and move forward. Now, when we talk about Aura Forma, we kind of need to talk about basic Forma. And regular Forma has been in the game since like when I started playing, which was like 2014, 2013, somewhere around there. And Umbral Forma and Aura Forma have been teased for, I'm guessing probably about 2 years now. But it's only recently came into the game. Now, Umbral Forma is a whole different ball of wax. In fact, if you've watched any of my content before, you know that I'm not a fan of Umbral Forma. But the main problem with Umbral Forma is that DE's taken a new polarity, and instead of adding it to the pre-existing multipolarity Forma that we already had, they created a whole new Forma. The problem with this is, are they going to do that for another new polarity down the road? Because at some point we're going to get to having 30, 40, 50, 60 different types of Forma, which is asinine at best. But staying on task, let's focus on Aura Forma. Now, Aura Forma is a special type of Forma that allows you to apply it to the Aura mod slot on your Warframe, thereby making sure that every Aura mod in the game is going to match the polarity. Now, the first problem with Aura Forma here is the fact that it is so limited. It can only be used on Warframes. Furthermore, it can only be used on the Aura mod slot. That's just massively limiting for what you can use it for. Unfortunately, the problems don't stop there. Now, while on paper Aura Forma sounds brilliant, and it does, think about it. Being able to polarize your Aura mod slot so you can run every damn Aura mod in the game, and you always have a matching polarity. Sounds brilliant. But on paper, it falls on its, in practice, it falls on its face because there's only a handful of good Aura mods. Most players that you run into are going to probably be running something like Corrosive Projection, or Growing Power, or even Steel Charge. More recently, a lot of players have started using Empowered Blades for status effect heavy attack melee builds. To compound that further, even though we're talking about 4 different mods here, two of each are the same polarity, meaning that Empowered Blades is what a lot of people refer to as the Dash polarity or Naramon polarity, and it's the same as Corrosive Projection. Growing Power is what a lot of people refer to as the V polarity or the Matarai polarity, and it's the same exact polarity as Steel Charge. So while we're talking about 4 different mods, we're only talking about 2 polarities. The fact that there's only a handful of Aura mods really just completely destroys the idea of Aura Forma in general. But unfortunately, the issues don't stop there with Aura Forma, because another big issue with it is the problem that DE themselves have created, and that is they've overvalued Aura Forma. Case in point, if you go to the market and you look at regular Forma, you see that regular Forma is going to cost you 20 plat. Now, most people farm this from relics, and rightfully so. So it doesn't really cost you any plat to get regular Forma. But Aura Forma, on the other hand, costs you 80 friggin' plat. 80 plat. That means that DE values this thing 4 times more than regular Forma, which is ludicrous. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the reason why, in case you're wondering, Peace, why doesn't it make any sense? The reason it doesn't make any sense is because Aura Forma is never needed. It's never required at all, at any point in the game. But regular Forma is. Now, even if you're a new player and you think, well, I'll never put Forma in anything. The simple fact is that if you play the game long enough, you're going to come across some piece of equipment that you really enjoy using. Be it Warframe, be it weapon, primary, secondary, melee, so on and so forth. At some point, you're going to enjoy it enough that you're going to want to take your build to the next level. You're going to want to put the best possible build in there that you can. And that's going to require Forma. But you don't need Aura Forma. In fact, regular Forma works on the Aura mod slot. So let's say, for example, you get a Warframe and it's got a polarity on the Aura mod slot that other than Neramon or Matarai. And you want to change it to Neramon, for example. You can simply do so with regular Forma. Just this simple. But even beyond that is the build cost on Aura Forma. The build cost on Aura Forma is absolutely insane. It's literally going to cost you an argon crystal, which isn't that bad, 10 nitane extract, 4 regular Forma, and 100,000 credits. Now, even if you wanted to say, Peace, argon crystal, it's easy to get. Nitane extract, that's easy to get as well. You're right, it is. Now, there is still a stigma attached to nitane extract because a lot of experienced players were around before the Nightwave alert system, and we remember when we could only get 1 nitane extract a day. 2 nitanes if we were extremely lucky. And of course, this is excluding that farming location where it has like a 0.35% drop chance for nitane or Forma. So we're excluding that. But even if you say, okay, well, regardless, nitane's still easy to get. You're right, it is. Here's the problem, though. Remember, it takes 10 nitane. That's 2 different nitane purchases. Given the situation I am here currently with the max rank intermission, cred offerings, that means I'm going to need to level twice, 2 times. That means that in a week, all of my challenges are used for nothing else but nitane. All of my challenges in a week are being used to build 1 singular Aura Forma. That's it. And then, as I said, the issue that nobody ever needs Aura Forma is very true, and let's talk about that. Let me give you guys and gals out there, newer players, a tip. Now, the simple fact of the matter remains that Aura Forma has only recently been added to the game. So what did all of us experienced players do when we wanted to run a different Aura mod than what was polarized on that slot? How did we do it? What did we do? All right. Well, this is kind of an obvious trick, a little obvious tip, I should say. And for those of you guys and gals that may not have given it much thought, hopefully this will help you out. So if I wanted to run, say, a different Aura mod like Growing Power, even though my polarity on my Aura mod slot is a dash or Neramon, I want to make it a V or Matarai. So how can I use this Aura mod in this slot and not use Aura Forma? Well, you just simply put a few more Forma down here. That's it. Nothing more. That's all you got to do. Now, I'm sure somebody out there saying, well, Peace, wait a minute. What does putting regular Forma down here have to do with my Aura mod? Okay, well, follow with me here. So let's, for this example, let's pretend that I put 3 Forma in this build, right? I put a Forma here, I put a Forma here, and I put a Forma here, all right? So that's going to give me about 10 capacity points by putting those 3 Forma in, right? So again, for this case, I'm going to remove Power Drip, but pretend power drift is still there, and pretend that I have 3 Forma here. And I have 10 capacity points here. All right. Here's growing power, and it's in the Aura mod slot. Just that easy. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter if it's the Aura mod's a different polarity. The only thing that matters is that you have the capacity to support it. And it doesn't matter where you get those capacity points from. So, by applying Forma down here, it gave me enough capacity points and left my build intact so that I could run an Aura mod that I choose. So that's all you really have to do in this example, is just quite simply use regular Forma. In fact, if you want to hear something that really racks your brain, check this out. So to be able to run different Aura mods, you've got the choice between Aura Forma, which we just talked about. Its cost is an argon crystal, 10 nitane extract, 100,000 credits, and 4 regular Forma. Or you could just use regular Forma here. And if you use regular Forma, that means you're saving a Forma, an argon crystal, 10 nitane extract, and 100,000 credits. So yeah, nobody ever needs Aura Forma. It's never required at any point. Nobody should ever require Aura Forma. There shouldn't be anybody out there that says, man, I need Aura Forma to really bring my build up to the next level. It's just not a thing. Aura Forma is next to pointless. Now, hopefully that explains any of y'all's questions about why I have a beef with Aura Forma. I mean, it's extremely limited. You know, as I said, you can only put it on a Warframe, and moreover, you can only put it on an Aura mod slot. It's way too costly to build. It's way too costly to buy. There aren't enough good Aura mods to really warrant the use of it. So ultimately, nobody ever needs Aura Forma. Just use regular Forma. Regular Forma is so good. And that's what most of us experienced players have been doing for years, before Aura Forma was ever a thing. So, anyway, let me know what you guys and gals think down in the comment section below. And until next time, peace and grace.